So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
Roswell in the 21st century is a detailed re-examination of the Roswell UFO crash case. I have studied the evidence for more than 30 years, and I now put that evidence under a microscope in a cold case examination of the facts. These facts might not please everyone. They are based on my comprehensive investigation that took years to complete, but they do lead to the conclusion that whatever fell was not built on Earth. The Best of Project Blue Book is based on the 22-year-long investigation conducted by the Air Force. But the book goes far beyond that, bringing in evidence that was uncovered long after Project Blue Book was ordered terminated. Using facts that were unavailable to the Air Force investigators, I was able to prove that the Air Force manipulated the data and drew unrealistic conclusions about the UFO sightings reported to them. My different perspective shows there was more to Project Blue Book than even the Air Force knew. Both books are available at Amazon.com.
Join Patty Conklin and Healing Within Radio each week. More than entertainment, Healing Within offers educational, useful tools for everyday life. Listen for help overcoming fear, anxiety, and depression. Patty knows about eliminating cancer, MS, dementia, Parkinson's, and a host of illnesses that we face every day. Life can be good. Life is good. All you need are simple tools to start changing your life. Start right now by visiting pattyconklin.com, PATTICONKLIN. No matter where you are in the world, you can work with Patty through Skype, phone, or in person, visiting one of her retreats in Georgia. Visit pattyconklin.com today or call our offices at 404-474-0086. That's pattyconklin.com or call 404-474-0086.
Welcome back to the Imagine More Success radio show. It's the hot new All About You show with successful entrepreneurs and business experts who are sharing their stories or powerful takeaways while providing you with the tips, tools, tactics, and a free weekly gift to help you thrive. Your hosts for the Imagine More Success radio show are the best-selling authors, Cindy Hendricks, a certified business consultant, and Thomas Hides, a certified world-class public speaking coach. Be sure to check out the Imagine More Success radio show at imaginemoresuccess.net, because now's the time for you to realize your dreams and to imagine more success. I tell you what, we are so happy to be back. It's been, I don't know, a very long time since we've been in studio doing the show. I think a lot of people have had the same experience where it's been a while since they've done anything that was kind of normal for them, or at least most of the things that they love. Everyone seems to have spent a lot of time at home, or at least a lot of people have, and we're just exiting this kind of period in life where so many of us are trying to return to normal or get back to what we know and love. And today's radio show is going to be talking about a really cool guy who wrote a really awesome book, who actually is telling his story of coming out of his own really dark period and how quickly life can shift from one thing to the next, and how the return back to normal is almost never the same. You're never going back to the same old normal. Sometimes you're creating something new and different. So Cindy and I both really thought it'd be a great time to hear from him today. He's got on a new book, and we're going to be talking about him very soon. Cindy, give me a couple sentences about how you've been feeling since we last did our show.
Well, I have to admit, Thomas, that I was chuckling when you said that the world is getting back to normal. And you know what? My world has never really been normal.
Well, I can understand that too.
So this wasn't so hard for me. And, with my life being so crazy, I've worked all over the country and now internationally and, had a really busy life in my career and my personal life. So, this few months has not been that tough for me. But like I said, I'm ready to get back to my unnormal.
Understandable. Well, as we're having the opportunity to kind of make our way through, like I said, a very interesting and different period for most of us, we're going to be talking today with our guest, whose name is Scott Spiess. He has a master's degree in information systems, along with a bachelor's degree in social science and a minor in philosophy. He actually has a quite amazing topic today. He's going to be talking about his 2-year journey as he's earned the certification of Reiki master teacher, as well as becoming a certified massage therapist. He was a member of the United States national cycling team and represented his country in the Junior World Championships in France in '84, along with several other national tours. He's worked diligently with his clients to increase their ability to succeed at anything they put their minds to. And he's overcome many life and health issues to continue pushing forward in his own life with a positive attitude that really helps to inspire others. We're going to go ahead and welcome him to the show. Scott, thank you for joining us today. Scott Spiess.
Yes, thank you for having me. And that was a incredibly great introduction. You nailed that.
Hey, you know what? You're an incredible guy, so it's really easy. We appreciate that.
Hey,
So
Scott.
Hi there.
I got to tell you something, Scott. The name of your book really captured my attention from the very beginning, and it took 2 years, which is really funny because it's kind of a concept of people think of someone as having overnight success or becoming proficient at something in 5 seconds, and often what may seem like a 5-minute journey might take 2 years.
That's correct.
Is that right?
Yeah. No, things progress. Instant gratification was definitely not something that was part of this book in my 2-year journey.
I tell you what, when I saw the name of the book, I remember one other thought came to me as well. I said, I hope to God that this whole quarantine, coronavirus, COVID-19 thing doesn't end up saying, and it took 2 years. I really hope that that's a lot shorter.
Yeah. No, the Corona thing, we here in Northern California, we're not hit very hard with the virus. My day job is senior network engineer at a hospital. We had a total of 7 patients. And in between those 7, we had like 6 right at the beginning, and then we went 40 plus days, and then now we have 1.
Oh wow!
So we're not being hit hard here.
So glad to hear that. That's really, really good news. We love to hear that.
Yeah, I want to get back to my massage and Reiki work. We're still in shelter in place and work at home.
Oh wow!
Well, and I'm sure they're lined up for you, Scott, because people have had a tough time with this.
Yeah, I've gotten a few phone calls.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Scott, a big part of your story is that it has a really, I'd say, a pretty vast story arc. So rather than us kind of talking about what you're doing right this moment, I'd like for you to kind of preface with just a few sentences, kind of describe to us who you were in your youth.
Oh, very competitive, extremely competitive. Everything was about competition and measuring myself against other people. That's kind of how I saw the world. Mm-hmm. And for 47 years, it worked out really, really well for me. The 48th year, not so much.
When you talk about competition, have you seen the new Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance?
I have not seen that yet.
Well, in it, I mean, without kind of giving anything away for anyone who hasn't seen it, I think you definitely see a competitive side of Michael Jordan, which at times, I think to some audience members at least, seems almost maniacal. And I think it's kind of like pulling back the curtain and seeing what intensely competitive spirit really looks like. Did you find yourself that when you were intensely competitive in that point in your life, what were your relationships like back then compared to what they are now?
Oh, much deeper now. They were based on pretty much activities in the early days. So, I had clumps of friends. So I had my skydiving friends, I had my rock climbing friends, I had my whitewater kayaking friends, I had my motorcycle racing friends. And within that, there was a spirit of competition that you basically set your own personal value by the pecking order of who's doing what at that time period. It's kind of awkward seeing it from the outside in, but when you're involved, your whole drive is to be successful. And you see this in a normal work day, where you see the people that want to do that climb up the corporate ladder. They're pretty. They go for the juggler. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So to think about what parents might want to do to help their very competitive child as he's, growing up and getting through his education, what words of wisdom would you have for those parents to help a kid that is so focused competitively, to help him with maybe some other things that you might have felt would have helped you as you've struggled moving on through your life?
Yeah, my advice to parents is, one, listen to your kids. A lot of times kids are competitive because their parents want them to be. I was living at the Olympic Training Center in 1984, and I was shocked to find out that a couple of my teammates didn't really like bike racing. They were only doing it because their parents thought they were good. So listen to your kids, support what they want to do, and really expose them to different things that maybe, isn't competitive. Go on a trip that's history based. My wife and I love history. That's why when we were on our honeymoon, we went to Greece, Egypt, Israel, and Turkey on a cruise, because we just really ate up the history.
I think right now we could certainly say we're living historical times, and for a lot of people, the working at home, the staying at home, the quarantine has given them an opportunity to get a different perspective on what came before it, whether it's personal life, working life, relationships in their life. In your particular story that you tell in your book, And It Took 2 Years, you actually had a significant event that gave you pause to look back on your life. Tell us about that event.
Well, I had I was diagnosed with lung cancer and an aortic aneurysm. But the bigger one was the death of my close friend, Mark Miller.
So in your book, you actually talk about receiving the diagnosis on that, literally the day before Christmas, which happens to be your wife's birthday.
Yes. Yeah. That was not a stellar night.
Not a great Christmas present for anybody in that household. And, I certainly have had a couple of experiences that I can relate to that are like that. Take us back just quickly. What was that moment like when you heard the news?
Well, your stomach drops. You really break out in a cold sweat. And I can tell you that a episode earlier in my life helped me prepare for that news. I make no bones of it in the book. I'm a suicidal failure, meaning I tried to commit suicide and I failed. And I got some perspective when I was diagnosed with the aneurysm and cancer. I was looking forward. I wasn't looking back. And it pushed me, especially with Mark's death, it pushed me over the resistance to change. I knew that I wanted to do a lot of change. I didn't know how to change. But at that point in time, it was just, things have to change. And that's when I let the universe steer for 2 years, which is why I called it And It Took 2 Years.
So Scott,
and things do have to change. That's been an experience a lot of us have had. In the next segment, when we come back, we're actually going to continue the conversation about how important change is in your life. And we're going to have a chance to look behind the curtain again at someone who was forced to make some really significant changes in his life, and his wonderful book, And It Took 2 Years. We're going to be back with Scott Spiess in just a few minutes.
Are you looking for psychic services that empower as well as provide accurate information? Jenny is a third-generation psychic with extensive esoteric training. A practicing professional intuitive for over 30 years, her accuracy is astounding. While most psychics can read what will happen to you if you don't change directions, Jenny understands the future is subjective. While there is a river of time we all traverse, that river has many waves, eddies, currents, and tributaries from which to choose. With Jenny as your guide, you can explore the many possible outcomes in the river of time and navigate your course to the one of your liking. Take control of your future. Book your life-changing session with Jenny today at www.gen-e.net. That's www.gen-e.net.
Mission Evolution is dedicated to the well-being of the planet and animals, as well as the evolution of humankind. One major factor threatening all three is increasing toxicity. Heavy metals and other environmental toxins are poisoning our bodies, deteriorating our brains, blocking our spiritual connection, and shortening our lives. Yet these poisons are extremely difficult to remove. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, and I recently became aware of a product created from the marriage of nature and nanotechnology called Vitality. It's formulated from zoolite, whose crystalline structure binds toxins, gently carrying them out of the body. The light is only as clear as the window through which it shines. Clear your body, shine your light into the world. Visit vitalityhappens.com for a 20% discount. Enter code PATHHOME.
In the mid-1990s, I was approached by a young woman who believed she'd been abducted by alien creatures. In conversations, I began a journey that took me not into the world of interstellar travel, but back through time into past lives. Under hypnotic regression administered by a professional rather than describing abduction, Jenny, as she is called, begins to tell a tale of horror in 19th century London. Her unbelievable past life seems to connect with Jack the Ripper and other monsters of the past. Throughout the session, Jenny provides a rich detail of her past lives that links some of the most horrific killers in history to one another. Using the resources of a university library in the pre-internet's day, I was able to verify some of Jenny's claims. She has knowledge that wasn't readily available to a suburban housewife. Does this prove the reality of her tales? Conversations attempts to answer that and other provocative questions. Conversations is available at Amazon.com.
Welcome back to the Imagine More Success radio show with Cindy and Thomas. We're so glad that you're continuing to listen in today. In the beginning segment of our show today, we've really been covering a topic which is very timely. We've been talking about when events affect your life that force you to change. Sometimes change isn't easy, and sometimes change isn't necessarily what you're ready for, and sometimes you don't know how to change. And that's been the experience of our person that we're interviewing today, Scott Spiess, who wrote a book, and it took 2 years. Scott, in a previous segment we just ended, you were talking about getting basically a double diagnosis the day before Christmas Eve, Christmas Eve, and it was completely devastating to your life. And I think a lot of people on a smaller level than that have had a similar experience this year when they found that life that was normal for them obviously was no longer normal. And I saw personally, and even myself, a resistance to change on some level in the very beginning. Did you find that resistance at first, once you first got your diagnosis?
Yeah, I got very, very frustrated. Everything was based competition-wise with me. And then all of a sudden, I'm being told I can't compete. And then being told that here are some prescriptions that will take 30% of the pumping ability of your heart away. I mentioned this in the book. I did a 5K fun run. 5K is not my distance. I'm much longer distance runner. But I did it in 1810 at age 47, which is 5:51 per mile.
Okay.
and then all of a sudden I'm on these drugs and I can't run an 8-minute mile.
Oh, yeah. It's a huge difference.
So the frame, pushing this forward, once I got through with the frustration, I just decided, you know what? The way to change is to not think about change. Let it happen. And you know that there's going to be things in your life that you're going to try that influences what that change is going to be. And, to help my friend Mark during his final days with cancer, I became a Reiki master, which is an energy modality in massage. I also became a certified massage therapist with the focus of helping others be successful, because others put a ton of time and money into me, helping me or give me the opportunity to be successful out there. And I think I did an okay job with that. But now my job is to support others.
Let's talk for a moment about your friend Mark. So you and Mark had been friends for about how long before he got his diagnosis?
6 or 7 years.
Wow, so quite some time.
Yeah.
When you heard about Mark's diagnosis and you made the change to Reiki Master, did you feel like you were watching yourself as you watched Mark's journey?
Fortunately not. Everything happened really, really quickly with Mark. Mm-hmm. He was diagnosed, and pretty much 3 months later, he was no longer with us. He had stage 4 liver cancer, and this was the second time that he had cancer. But he hid it from us for a long while, which is kind of disappointing, but it is his choice. He finally shared it with us, but it took a little while.
So I have a question for you, Scott.
Yes.
And I'm just curious, did your wife go with you when you got your diagnosis on December 24th?
No. Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, and actually got the diagnosis over the phone.
You have got to be kidding me.
No. Yeah. And I could not fire that doctor fast enough.
Well, what would motivate him to have a phone call on the eve of a major holiday and give you that kind of news?
He works for my hospital, so I can't really express my true feelings of him, but he does have an ego.
Well, I think he needs to get something else going on, because that is definitely not the way to inform someone of something so devastating.
Yeah, and he did follow it up that if I felt a searing pain in my back, I was to lay down and call 911 because my aneurysm was bursting.
Okay.
So, yeah, well, this is an epic failure from a diagnosis standpoint.
Well, and that's a great thing to let people know at this point, that you always want to get a second opinion no matter what.
Yes.
There is a part as well, that a message that I feel is almost universal right now. If we're taking a look at many world events, it is a universal message always. But I think this idea of empathy, of really understanding where someone else is coming from, what they're experiencing in the moment, is something that is missing throughout humanity in many places. Now, it is in many places, but I think if we're to move into a better place, to more understanding, a happier world altogether, a little bit of empathy could go a long way, really taking into account what other people's feelings and situations are, and seeing them as if they are similar, while still recognizing that their experiences may be vastly different. And I think that that's something, obviously, in that story you tell, was kind of missing. There was definitely some empathy that was not there. The idea of timing not being a good part of it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I honestly had to learn that too during my journey. I was a definitely me first kind of person. And, during that journey, especially, strangely enough, massage school taught me so much about working with people and where they're coming from, and have a discussion from their perspective on their playing field, was something that I really needed to learn, and be more of an active listener, engage with them when they're talking, because you will see them, if you do this, you will see them smile. You're making their life better that day.
So, Scott, what I find interesting about you is that your education has really kind of followed your life path, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because you started out with the information technology and then right into social science and then philosophy. And that's weirdly kind of the path that you have been on.
Yeah, and believe it or not, it stems from my inability to read at a very early age. I was, well, they don't really diagnose you back then. They just called you an ADD kid and wanted to pump you full of drugs. But I literally am dyslexic and ADD, and I couldn't read. So I would actually travel a great distance to a reading school. And once I started reading, I didn't stop. I was actually, in my early age, I was afraid that I would lose the ability to read. And I know it's an irrational fear, but you're a third grader.
And in this point of your story, like I said, that big kind of arc of your story, you're at a place of triumph, I would say. And it seems that in your story, both Reiki and massage had a tremendous influence on you. Earlier, you spoke a little bit about massage and how it helped to create some empathy between you and others.
Yes.
In doing the Reiki work, explain to us just a little bit about what the work is and how it changed your life.
Well, the work is you're basically balancing the energy in the body. All bodies are energetic. Now, some people get different feelings. Sometimes it's a prickly sensation. Sometimes it's a heat sensation or pressure, or they feel absolutely nothing. I got into Reiki because Mark had really, really difficult headaches. And Reiki is great on calming the person down, relieving tension, which inflows the lack of headache. So, I was busy just helping him get rid of his headache and try and keep him as comfortable as possible.
In your working with Reiki, how did your I guess vision of what a human being was like, because you were in a very, I think, like physical place, especially when it came to being a competitive cyclist, how did that shift to a more energetic based understanding of the human body based upon your Reiki experience?
That actually is a good question. And it really came down to one of my massage instructors, told me to read a book. It's called Spark in the Machine. And it's about how energy moves through the body. And I was experimenting with a bunch of stuff. But all of a sudden, as I'm reading, I'm understanding more and more about how the body works and how just being physical, you're missing the point. Life started to look a lot different. You were starting to look at people differently. It was really kind of, I hate to use the word expanding, but it was really an expanding situation where, as I was being exposed to all this stuff, I just gobbled it up. I mean, it was like, I want more. And, I'm continuing with this because my current project is I'm teaching myself traditional Chinese medicine. I'm not going to be an acupuncturist, but I can use my fingers to manipulate that energy flow and be an acupressurist.
Cool.
So, not licensed to use needles. You don't want me sticking needles in you.
Well, that's true. At this point, right, that's very true. And we want to thank you so much for telling us more about the journey of studying massage and Reiki and how it changed your life. When we come back in the next segment, we want to continue the story of Scott Spiess. We're talking about his book, And It Took 2 Years. And we're going to, as we continue to talk about his journey, we're going to get to the triumphant part about how he overcame 2 gigantic diagnoses early in his life and how it's moved him into a place of higher consciousness. So please stick around. How would your life change if you could develop the business and personal skills that you need in order to make more money? Do you want to learn how to achieve your big life goals faster? Then go to findhiddenmoney.com and get the Goal for It online course. The course teaches you how you can set and achieve your biggest goals while completely overcoming the roadblocks to your goals so that you can realize your dreams and imagine more success. Go to findhiddenmoney.com.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide. Audience, if you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
Memorable dynamic presentations are a not-so-secret weapon in the business world. Do you have a powerful message that must be shared, but you haven't found a way to deliver that message? Do you want to be known as a top public speaker who gets amazing results? Are you ready to create and deliver your powerful message? Thomas Hides can help you create and deliver your speech to get the results you desire. Visit iconquality.com.
Hey, thank you so much for sticking around for the Imagine More Success radio show. We're happy you're continuing to join us today. If you didn't happen to hear the first two segments, we've been talking about, say, a dramatic arc within someone's life that I think has been mirrored in the lives of a lot of us the last few months, where everything was going kind of normally and then some gigantic event happens and then you're forced to, as is common in everyday language today, we're forced to pivot, or you're forced to change or take a new direction. And, for some of us, we're still in the middle of the change, the pivot. And it's always interesting to see what happens on the other side. And previously, in the earlier segments, we were talking with Scott Spiess, who's our guest today. He's written a book called And It Took 2 Years. And he had a crazy diagnosis that he got on Christmas Eve, a health diagnosis that was very negative. And in his path, he learned Reiki, massage therapy, began to employ it as modalities to help others, and had a real triumph over what could have been just an absolutely devastating part of his life. Scott, welcome back to this segment of the show.
Thank you.
Of course. Once you got into Reiki massage therapy, how did your personal health shift? And how long did it take? Obviously, the name of the book, but
the major change happened within a year. The second year was just refining it. After the diagnosis, and then coming to terms with what was going on and how my life had to change. There was no if. It just had to do it. I became a lot calmer as a person. I started to think in terms of, loving yourself, because if you don't love yourself, then no one else can love you. Don't be so hard on yourself. No one does their first time at, say, getting up to, hit a ball. No one does that perfect the first time. So expect that there's going to be some stumbles. Engage with people on their playing field. Make them feel that they are the most important thing in the room. And just participating and refining, reading, meeting with new people. That was a big part of the book. Is there's 2 rules. It was going to take 2 years because I needed to define a time period, and I needed to do things that I've never done before with people that I don't know. So that expanded my ability to relate with people, to understand where they're coming from. We were talking about empathy, and just honestly caring about them in a real kind of way.
Well, Scott, in the bigger scheme of things, 2 years is a very short time to really find your purpose and really get in your lane.
Yeah. At the time, I wasn't planning on writing a book, about it. I had my publisher, Michelle, convinced me that I needed to get things going on this, and she was a huge help in getting that going.
And I'm sure it was very therapeutic for you.
Oh, yes. Again, very, very high stress, type A, high blood pressure, go, turns into a Buddhist. I mean, where does that happen?
Yeah.
So
maybe the name of the book, maybe the title of the book should be "And It Only Took 2 Years."
Yeah, and again, I'm still expanding. I'm still learning new things. When I was back before this pandemic started, I had people coming by my cubicle saying, "Hey, I got a headache." Hit 3 acupressure points. All of a sudden, headache gone. I'm relating, or I'm being of service to others because they actually need it.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the idea of being in service to others. In your transformation, as you moved from being more self-centered to being more others-centered, what did that look like to you on a philosophical level rather than a physical level of helping people? What did it look like to be in service of others? What were you doing?
Well, from a philosophical level, I had to make sure that my ego was not involved. I do have a huge ego, but I needed to make sure that I was not pushing help on others. I was helping those that were requesting help. So, that comes back to the more engagement, the more people trust you. The first time you meet someone, is that trust level there? I'm getting to the point where I can sink into a level of trust with people rather quickly now. But again, I have to remind myself, it's not about me. It's about that other person. And that's the monumental shift there.
Wow, that's powerful, isn't it?
Oh, very, very. I mean, it was, that 2 years was very, very significant. And it definitely comes out as, this is sort of a methodology for change. So this book is great for people that want to change, but need an idea of how to do it. Not a follow the list of 10 things. It's, hey, let's try something new. Let's make some new friends. Let's see where they're coming from. I mean, the one thing that Mark and I used to do, coming back to the philosophy, was he was big into theology. I started out as a philosophy major with comparative religions. So, we were able to discuss things at a very different level that most people don't even think about.
Do you think that the pathway of self-examination is something that occurred faster because you let go of competition?
Oh, very much so. Change happens really, really quickly when you get out of the way. When you stop thinking about how to do the change and just let change happen. I always use the sentence, I let the universe steer for 2 years. And literally, I got out of my own way and decided I wasn't going to make decisions on planning for the future. I was just going to let it happen. And that's how we pivoted on change. Because I was very much a plan and execute type person, very, very engineerish, and I'm not that way anymore.
Well, Scott, I think the biggest takeaway I have from your book and your story is that you have learned fluidity within your life and in your choices and in your future that you didn't really understand until you had this breakthrough of medical crises.
Oh, yeah, you nailed it. Yeah, definitely. Because I was very much in my own way. And again, I come back with be kind to yourself. Don't do self-doubt. It's like when I'm working with my ultra marathoners. I always ask them at what mile does self-doubt start popping up, and we have a technique where when self-doubt comes up into your head, you acknowledge it and you ask it to go away. And you would be amazed at how many of those recurring dreams that you have, or nagging, someone did something to me, I didn't like that, or someone, when you acknowledge it and tell it to go away in a nice way, you're just kind of forgiving them, and out the door, you now don't have a problem. You're not thinking about it. Your heart's not racing, your blood pressure's not boiling, you're not quitting your job, you're not getting in a fight with your girlfriend or your wife. That's, where I wanted to be.
Tony Robbins mentions that a lot of the thoughts that we have are not necessarily our own. They're kind of just random thought fragments that are a part of the human experience. So sometimes we'll hear something in our mind, and then we'll give ourselves a hard time about it. Well, why did I think that? Or why does that affect me like that? And he says, rather than wondering about the why, just kind of let them go and let them move on, which sounds similar to what you're talking about.
Yes.
That brings me to the next question, which is how do you balance human ego with self-esteem and self-confidence when you're trying to do something that requires a tremendous amount of personal effort to accomplish?
Great question. Letting go and seeing what has value and what does not have value. If I'm doing something that, hey, if I'm writing a book, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of editing, and a lot of deleting of paragraphs or chapters that are not relative to the end goal of the book. I've got to make sure that I'm of peace of mind in doing it so it does not affect me. I don't know if I'm being very clear here, but the end goal does not justify getting upset and being looking down on people or being mean to people or yell at the guy who just cut you off. Once you let all that stuff go, life becomes pretty easy, and you actually do a lot of good things.
You mean letting go of things not being perfect, maybe?
That is correct, because there is no perfection. Or for me, there is no perfection. So whatever I do with foreknowledge, and I don't have to look back because I made a conscious decision to do what it was. So
if you've been struggling in your life with a very similar situation, we do want you to stick around. We're going to come back in the next segment as we continue the Imagine More Success radio show. Today we've got Scott Spiess with us. In the next segment, he actually has a really cool free gift for you as well, and a chance for you to reach out to him in a very cool way. So please stick around as we come back into the next segment. We're going to have some really wonderful information and entertainment for you. So please do stick around.
watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
In the mid-1990s, I was approached by a young woman who believed she'd been abducted by alien creatures. In conversations, I began a journey that took me not into the world of interstellar travel, but back through time into past lives. Under hypnotic regression administered by a professional rather than describing abduction, Jenny, as she is called, begins to tell a tale of horror in 19th century London. Her unbelievable past life seems to connect with Jack the Ripper and other monsters of the past. Throughout the session, Jenny provides a rich detail of her past lives that links some of the most horrific killers in history to one another. Using the resources of a university library in the pre-internet day, I was able to verify some of Jenny's claims. She has knowledge that wasn't readily available to a suburban housewife. Does this prove the reality of her tales? Conversations attempts to answer that and other provocative questions. Conversations is available at Amazon.com.
Mission Evolution is dedicated to the well-being of the planet and animals, as well as the evolution of humankind. One major factor threatening all three is increasing toxicity. Heavy metals and other environmental toxins are poisoning our bodies, deteriorating our brains, blocking our spiritual connection, and shortening our lives. Yet these poisons are extremely difficult to remove. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, and I recently became aware of a product created from the marriage of nature and nanotechnology called Vitality. It's formulated from zoolite, whose crystalline structure binds toxins, gently carrying them out of the body. The light is only as clear as the window through which it shines. Clear your body, shine your light into the world. Visit vitalityhappens.com for a 20% discount. Enter code PATHHOME.
Welcome back to the Imagine More Success radio show with Cindy and Thomas. We're very grateful that you're continuing to join us today. We've been talking with Scott Spiess, who is the author of a really cool book called And It Took 2 Years. We've been talking about his journey from being a competitive cyclist through learning Reiki and massage to coming out on the other side as someone who is much more in tune and in touch with calmness and engaging others and learning how to work with others rather than just compete with them. You know, a lot of what we've been talking about today is, I would say, kind of counterculture in some parts of our society. When we take a look at a lot of the forms of entertainment that we're exposed to or that are out there, a lot of entertainment in general, even sports, is based around competition. Obviously, not all of it. Some of it is based on cooperation between teams as well, but a lot of it's competitive. And how do you balance that, Scott, with enjoying something like sports as well, you know, and having that kind of competitive spirit, as well as balancing it with the idea of working together with others?
Well, the way I'm doing it now is I understand that I'm competing against myself and no one else. That kind of was an earth-shattering portion of my 2 years, because I was always viewing myself as per what I could do capability-wise versus someone else. Now that, you know, I'm on, you know, heart medicine and so forth, you know, I have to reevaluate that. So I'm enjoying walking with my wife. You know, we do a 5-mile walk every day instead of running that 5 miles. I really enjoy going for hikes and not worrying about how long it takes. So from a competitive lens, I shifted to where I'm enjoying it instead of forcing myself to do it faster, harder, win.
I wanted to just take a minute and summarize what you said in our last segment, Scott, because it sounded like you were kind of wavering a bit in the analyzation of what you had been through and what you've been doing, because I really see it that you've taken a step back and you've analyzed your whole life and you've put value on everything and you've made a determination of what's important. And then you've, taken it on with everything you know and everything you've learned and created a very special and a very wonderful life for yourself that's inclusive of what you've learned based on your circumstance. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, well, very nicely said. Thank you. And you're spot on.
I think it really brings me back to something that you said as your favorite quote when we were kind of doing the pregame on this radio interview today. Your quote is, "In 100 years from now, is anyone going to care?"
Yes.
And, if we start applying that question to our life, I think that's a wonderful, what I call editing tool. If you find yourself, at the CrossFit gym doing something crazy where you're about to break a part of you to do to make a certain record or something like that, a personal best, maybe there's another more important task in your life or cause in your life that you'd like to put that level of energy into in that moment. I'm not sure. I don't know if that really qualifies, but it really made me think about my own life a little bit when we were talking about that.
Well, Thomas, I have to tell you, I think that about next week, not in 100 years.
Yeah, the 100-year mark was something that I came up with basically when I was teaching. I was a college instructor for 6 years. And, when I had someone complaining about a grade or, they messed up or they were embarrassed, about something, I would come up with, hey, in 100 years from now, would anyone really care? And it kind of diffuses the situation. Now, my tone inflection would be different for different people because, there's certain perspectives that people have or sensitivities. So with the people you can be a little harder on, you can zing it to them. The people that, may not be as hard, maybe you need to take it a little slower and lay out the groundwork with, hey, really, in 100 years.
And that'd be perfect for students.
Yeah.
Because everything's so big to them and important.
Yeah, and expensive.
Yes.
I think we need to tell Tom Brady that quote. We need to send it to him. Because he's still worked up over being 199th in the draft, but I think he's, got the six championships that kind of override that a little bit. But
yeah, there's a little dip in the ego, huh?
You can let it go now. It's okay.
Yeah, he definitely needs a perspective change.
Yes. So, Scott, let's have our audience know what great gift you're giving away.
I'm giving away 20 of my books.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Now, the way that you let me know that you want a book is you go to scottspiess.com. And
spell
on that
out
website,
for us, Scott, please.
SCOTTSPIESS.com. And on my website, there is a contact information tab. Just fill it in, and in the comments, say, please send me your book. Give me your name, your address, email address, phone number, and I'll get it to you for the first 20.
Sweet. That's really cool.
Yes,
I do really love that. Scott, you've been working with Michelle Reesley. She's a friend of our show. She's done a ton of work for Cindy, publishing Cindy's, I don't know how many books now.
12. We're working on 12.
She's published 12 books together, which is incredible. And you've gone through this process with her. I know she's a really great author coach as well as publisher. In your experience, how has that changed your life? Because so many people, they start off and it's a really gigantic task to write your first book. What was that like for you?
That's a lot of writing and a lot of leaving a lot of that content on the ground. My scrap pile was bigger than what the book is, but it was a learning experience. She was inspirational for me. She picked me up off the ground a couple times because again, this is my first book, so never been through this process. Gave great advice, good coaching. We were friends before, we're still friends.
Good point.
Yeah. It's
quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, it's strengthened our relationship. A lot of people don't know, but Michelle and I were friends back in the college days.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I wrote articles for her at a trade magazine called California Computer News, and she used to date my roommate.
Small world.
Yes, it is amazing how everything is connected.
Yes. Well, the great news is that we're going to have Michelle Gamble on next week as a guest.
Okay.
Cool. 3L Publishing.
Yes.
So Scott, we've been talking about books today, talking about your book, but you told that there's a book that you really love called Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. Take a moment, tell us a little bit about why you love the book so much.
Well, my license plate holder said, "Who is John Galt?"
Oh, I love it.
So, I found the book very, very inspirational because it's a personal philosophy of mine, which is all decisions start with the individual. And then individuals get together to create a group. Those groups then join a community, and that community enacts, I'll just say state. I won't keep expanding, but basically it's the individual comes up with what the solution is, not some government agency or some bureaucrat that's educated in a certain way. It empowers the critical thinking people of this world. And that book speaks directly to the producers, and in the book they call them looters. I'm more on the producer side, and I see the perspective of the looters, but my wish is that there wouldn't be looters, that there would be people that respected themselves enough to think for themselves and be empowered by themselves.
I love it. It's a favorite book of mine. In fact, it's usually right next to my desk. I read it many years ago, and every once in a while I'll just flip through it.
The John Galt speech.
Yeah.
All 66 pages of it.
It was very, very moving. And, it that book itself actually led me down several paths, including having the chance to have a phone conversation with the famous bodybuilder Mike Mentzer, because I had first actually learned about that book from him, oddly enough, which was kind of cool. As we're wrapping it up today, I want to give you a chance to just take a moment and tell us how you feel about the future.
Oh, I'm very, very optimistic. I know we're coming out of a pandemic and a lot of people have lost their jobs. I mean, at the hospital nationwide, we've laid off 1,000 people.
Wow.
And that has huge impact on them personally. I have been part of and have seen small groups of people get together and put food on other people's tables once they, get notified that someone's having a hard time. I see that coming back. A little factoid that a lot of people don't know is my grandfather during the Great Depression fed 3 families.
Wow.
So, we're carrying on that I'm going to say graceful giving, because giving with the expectation of receiving is wrought with wrong thinking.
Scott, thank you so very much. We want to end today's show talking about graceful giving. We want to invite you to continue the giving spirit and to take forth into the future a positive attitude. We look forward to seeing you again. It's such a pleasure to be with you again. The Imagine More Success radio show. We want you to realize your dreams and to imagine more success.